Hello and welcome to Lesson 13. We will get into editing and formatting documents. For this lesson, we will learn how to edit documents in Word as well as select text. So the first thing we need to do is open up our Step 13.1 from our Lesson 13 data files. And open up Step 13.1, and remember, not Project 13.1, but Step 13.1. Here we go. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is save our document as carbohydrates 1. Make sure that you are saving this step in your Lesson 13 folder, and we're saving it as carbohydrates 1. Alright, so let's turn on our show hide. Remember, our show hide is in our paragraph group on our font on our home tab. Get that screen tip and turn on your show hide, which are your non-printing characters. So the first thing we're going to do in this step is to learn how to select text in our document. There are various ways that you can select text in your document depending on what you are trying to do. So position the I-beam mouse pointer at the beginning of the first line of text. Now notice my insertion point is at the beginning of my document, but my I-beam is not at the beginning of my document. So move your mouse, and notice my I-beam is now moving across my screen to the first line of text right before the I in your margin. Just like this. Click and hold the mouse and drag it across your first sentence. So just click and drag. And that's one way to select text, by simply clicking and dragging your mouse across the line of text and then release your mouse so that your whole sentence is selected. Now, the next thing we'll do is find the word diet in the last paragraph to select it. So let's look in the last paragraph, and here's the word diet. Double click. So if you double click on a word, you can select it. Let's select another word and double click. Double click. So double clicking allows you to select a single word. Now, press Control A on your keyboard. So hold down the Control key and press A. And notice Control A selects your entire document. Click outside of your document. Let's do it again. Control on your keyboard, A. So remember, Control A selects your whole document. So this would come in handy. Say you have a 10-page document that you're working in and you want to change the font of your document. Instead of selecting the whole document by clicking and dragging down all 10 pages, you can simply do Control A and it will select all of your text in the 10-page document. Click outside of your text to deselect. The next thing we'll do is click to position the insertion point at the beginning of the second paragraph, which is here. So your insertion point should be at the beginning of the word foods. And then move hold down your shift key and move to the word potatoes and click. And notice where the beginning of our insertion point was located to where we held the shift key down and clicked, that whole line of text was selected. Click out to deselect, and let's try it again. Put your insertion point here in front of carbohydrates. Move your mouse to hand, hold down shift, and click. So by placing your insertion point at the beginning of the document, moving your I-beam to the end of where you want to in your selection, holding down the shift key and clicking allows you to select that text. You can also move it to the beginning of your paragraph, move it to your I-beam to the end, hold down shift and click, and that's another way to select the whole document. But again, that's not as easy as doing Control A. This method is simply good when you want to select random text within your document. So the next thing we'll do is continue to hold the shift key. So let's go back and click foods, go to potatoes, hold shift key down and click. Now hold down your shift key and move your right arrow on your keyboard. So say for example you also wanted to include rice and pasta in your selection. So with the shift key still held down, click on your arrow to the right key and notice it allows you to select add individual characters to your existing selection. Now suppose you did not want to include carbohydrates. So with the shift key still held down, you're going to click on your left arrow to go backwards to get rid of carbohydrates. Now, say for example you want to include this whole paragraph. So with the shift key still held down, we're going to press our down arrow to select that whole paragraph. Say for example I didn't mean to include the last paragraph, the last sentence. So I'm just going to arrow up one key. Arrow down, arrow up, arrow to the right, arrow to the left decreases your selection, arrow to the right increases your selection. So that's another method of selecting text in a document by using your arrow keys and holding your shift. Click out to deselect your text. Now, the next thing you're going to do is position the insertion point at the end of the first paragraph. Now, the insertion point will be displayed between the period and the paragraph marker. Press and hold Control Shift. So on your keyboard, hold down Control and the Shift key, and then select Home. And notice all of the text from the insertion point to the beginning of the document is selected. Click out to deselect. Let's do the same thing for the next paragraph. Click in between your paragraph marker and your period. Hold down Control Shift on your keyboard and press the Home key. And notice it selects all of the text from the insertion point to the beginning of your document, which is Home. So that's another way of selecting text. Click out to deselect. So basically we went through several series of how to select text in your document, from double clicking to select one single word, to Control A to selecting your whole document, to holding down, clicking, moving to the end of where you want to select, holding down the shift key and clicking, to increasing the selection by continuing to hold down that shift key and right arrow, decreasing the selection by continuing to hold down the shift key and left arrow, increasing our selection up, increasing our selection down by using the down arrow. So there are several different ways to select text in your document, or just the traditional click and drag to select text. Continue to practice different ways to select text in your Microsoft Word document. Leave this document open to continue on to the next step.